Hello everyone, welcome to CEC Online Lectures. Today we'll be talking about digital tools for education. As we all know that because of this pandemic, education sector across the world is undergoing tectonic shift. What educational technologists have been forecasting for quite some time is something which we are witnessing right now. The technology has become the biggest intermediary in the teaching learning process. The world is moving towards online education, and there are many catalysts that led to online education. The first and the foremost is something which is happening right now, the pandemic. And because of this, the teachers and the students, they are exploring new ways of education, new ways of learning, and new ways of teaching. 60 million students across the world, they're limited to home. They're under tremendous pressure not to lose time, not to lose ear. The teachers are under tremendous pressure to reinvent their teaching. So at this point of time, the only solution one can see is moving towards online education. The second very important factor that led to online education is the lack of access to good teachers. As we all know, that there are lakhs of students who are studying in colleges, universities, and there are a number of students who are studying in schools. Not all the students have access to good teachers, and everyone wants to gain knowledge from the brightest minds. So if the online courses are available, if the online resources are available, then these students who do not have access to good resources, to good teachers, they'll get opportunity to learn from the brightest mind and from the best of the resources. The third very important catalyst that led to online learning is disparate growth. We know that people learn differently. Students in a classroom, they learn differently. There are certain students who are comfortable with printed words. There are certain students who would like to learn by listening to certain audio programs. And there are certain students who would like to learn by watching a video on a one particular concept. So students learn differently. And this is something which has to be kept in mind by the teachers. They have to provide variety of resources. And this is possible in online learning. In face-to-face learning, it might be difficult because we do not have that much of time in a classroom. It is limited to 40 minutes or 1 hour. But when it comes to online, it depends upon students which resource they would like to use. So it actually provides an opportunity to a learner to pick up a resource according to their requirement, according to their learning needs. Another very important catalyst that led to online learning is the group with other commitments that prevent in-person learning opportunities. There are a lot of people who would like to learn, but maybe because of paucity of time, maybe because of some circumstances, they are not able to join university or a college. So in that case, there should be an opportunity for those people who would like to learn but cannot join or visit any college or university physically. So online provides this opportunity of learning anytime, anywhere. So that is something that needs to be exploited, and there are a number of people who are working. There are a number of people, who just cannot go out from their home. They have taken up number of online courses and they are upskilling themselves. So these are the number of reasons and the catalysts that led to online learning. But whatever the catalyst, there are tools and pedagogical approaches that can make online learning effective and successful. And there's one thing which we have to keep in mind, that the online learning is not one solution. In online learning, we can have our own methods, our own models, depending upon the needs of our students, depending upon the needs of the teachers, and depending upon the situation we are in. So we can select, any model to offer content online. In this presentation, we'll explore blended learning as a pedagogical tool, which is very, very popular across the world. And we'll be talking about G Suite tools. Definitely, we won't be able to cover all the tools, but we'll try and cover at least two tools which will help students and teachers to collaborate. So now, what exactly is blended learning? Blended learning has become a buzzword nowadays. Everyone is talking about it. It has actually become a new normal. Colleges, universities, even schools, they are exploring and experimenting with this particular method of teaching. But this is not something new. Blended learning is an established practice in developed world. Colleges, universities, they had offered courses in a blended mode successfully and effectively. Even in India, there are a number of institutes who have offered courses in a blended mode. So, blended learning is also known as hybrid learning. It is also known as mixed mode learning. Basically, when we talk about the blended learning, it is the system of instructional design which use many types of teaching learning experiences and vary in design and implementation across teachers, schools, and programs. And when we talk about the definition of blended learning, it is the use of traditional classroom teaching methods together with the use of online learning for the same students studying the same content in the same course. It is a thoughtful fusion of face to face and online learning experiences. So, in blended learning, we are talking about the fusion of online as well as offline teaching. And when I'm saying offline, I'm talking about the classroom teaching. There have been a lot of researches which have been conducted to find out the effectiveness of blended learning, and many findings on blended learning show an increase in learners' ability to learn collaboratively, think creatively, study independently, and tailor their own learning experiences to meet their individual needs. So, this is what blending learning offers. Now, even in blended learning, there are a number of models, and depending upon, as I said earlier, our requirements, we can use that particular model. For example, these are the three very important models of blended learning. The first model is the classroom engagement as primary component. So if you look at this model, the classroom engagement is like the primary component, is the main component, and every other activity revolves around it. And this is something which we are doing right now, in the sense that as a teacher, we go to a classroom, we teach students with the available resources. It could be a PowerPoint presentation or anything else. And then we ask our students to do certain exercise, maybe like watch a video, or maybe like, attempt a one particular quiz, or maybe like read something, or listen to a certain video. So the main is the classroom engagement. Teacher goes to a classroom, interact with the students, and then the online resources are explored. And this is a very good example of a flipped classroom, in the sense that in the flipped classroom, this is something which happens wherein the teacher acts as a facilitator. For The teacher goes, the teaches the students, and she asks these students to explore certain resources around that particular concept. And then when the teacher goes back to the classroom, those resources are discussed. There's a debate on that, and then maybe like there are seminars on those particular topics. So the flipped classroom is a good example of this. Then the second model is the blended blocks, in the sense that in this, the content is made available in blocks, in the face-to-face sessions and in the online tutorials. And this is something which has been experimented by a number of institutes. For example, that the start of the course should be with the face-to-face session, and then the students, they offered online tutorials, and then they come back again for the face-to-face interaction. And this particular model is followed especially for the working class, in the sense that the training has to be organized for teachers. Now the teachers are very busy. I mean, they can still take out 1 week to attend one particular program, but we cannot expect them to be there in any of the training institute for 6 months or 7 months. So they are invited to an institute for one a week of training, and then the rest of the course is offered in a online mode. And then at the end of the course, they're again invited for the face-to-face interaction. So this is another model which is blended block. And then you have a one fully online, but in this case we are still calling it a blended mode because here the content is offered in both modes, in a synchronous mode as well as asynchronous mode. Synchronous mode means that when you have live tutorials, when you are interacting with your students, you're using any virtual classroom platform to interact with your students, to deliver lectures. And asynchronous means that you are offering them number of resources. It could be text, it could be a recorded video, it could be audio, and they are using that also. So in this case also they are using two different modes of learning. One is asynchronous and the another one is synchronous. So these are the three major models of blended learning. So depending upon the requirement, depending upon the situation, any of these models can be explored by the organization or teachers. Now, what are the benefits and challenges of blended learning? So the benefits of blended learning, it provides you an opportunity for collaborative learning. There's a lot of collaboration can happen in the courses which are offered in a blended mode. In the sense that, as I said earlier, that when you're offering a course in a blended mode, the chances that the people who are scattered in the different geographical areas, they are attending that particular course. But if you have to give them any assignment and collaborative assignment, it becomes difficult, getting people from different areas to come together. But if it is online, people can work in groups, they can work in subgroups, so they can work collaboratively on number of assignments. Second is that it can improve accessibility. So the variety of resources are available. They're accessible to the students and learners, and depending upon what kind of content they would like to use, they can access that content. Communication improvement. This is something which has been observed, and in number of researches that it has been found that the students feel more comfortable when they are online, in the sense that the asking questions become easy. And maybe this could be because of online disinhibition, because when you are in classroom, when you are having face to face interaction with your teacher, with 70 students around, so you might be little inhibited, student might be little have little inhibition. But online it becomes easy to communicate with the peer also and with the teachers also. And then the assessment strategies. There are a number of assessment strategies. You can give number of tests, you can give objective types, you can give subjective type test, you can have quiz. So there are number of assessment strategies which can be used in the blended learning. There are a number of challenges also. For example, technological requirement, and this is a huge challenge which is being faced right now across the world, which means that some students, they do have access to technology, they do have access to laptops or mobile phones or internet, but there are certain students who might not be having access to the technology. So that's the biggest challenge which we are facing right now. So in this, to overcome this particular challenge, how can we offer something which can be accessed, or which can be maybe like read or viewed in an offline mode? So these are the things which can be explored when we're talking about the challenges of the technological requirement. Another very important thing is IT knowledge and the IT literacy. For any online course, you need to have the basic IT literacy. So if a person is not able to handle computers, and if that person doesn't know even the basics, so it becomes very difficult for them to take that particular online course and learn in an online mode. And then lack of pacing and self direction. This is something which is very very important, in the sense that when we talk about online courses, there's a lack of self direction and self-pacing, in the sense that in the students, if it is a self-paced course, they tend to read the entire content in the last 3 or 4 days of that particular course, rather than pacing it, properly, and consuming content or reading the resource material frequently, and participating in the quiz, in the forums, in the discussions in the course. So that these are the kind of challenges which are being faced, when we talk about the blended learning. Now, what are the different technologies required for blended learning? For blended learning, there are majorly like four types of technology. The technology that makes possible four type of work is required. One is something which will help us to collaborate. Second is to communicate. Third is to manage that particular course, and then to organize. Now, uh, Google Suite offers the range of productivity tools that keep teachers and students connected no matter the distance. So, for example, there are a number of tools for collaboration. They have Google Docs, the slides are there, Google Sheets are there, Drive is there, Jamboard is there. When you talk about managing the classroom, you have Google Classroom, you have Google Assignments, you have Google Forms. Then to communicate, there's something which we use very often, Gmail. Meets are there if you really want to have interaction with your students, and if you want to offer a class in a synchronous mode, so the Gmeet is available. Then you have the chat option available, and to organize your tasks, like you have Keep and you have Calendar. So these are the different apps which are available under G Suite, and there are a lot of educational institutes who have onboarded themselves to this particular platform. Though individually we are using all these apps which are available under Google umbrella, but when it comes to using it for education, the institutes, the colleges, and the university, they have to onboard to G Suite.